to the second episode of the Ellenville Parent Training Series. With us today, we have Sandra Brownsey from the Center for Spectrum Services here in Ellenville. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Sandra, tell us what the topic is today.
So the topic today is for parents to consider some overall behavioral techniques that we often use in school with kids. So what often happens is that we get feedback from parents that say, well, students act different in school than they do at home, right? You find that to be true. You act differently in school than you do at home. So what we wanted to offer parents today is 5 practical tips. And first, I'll just go over a list of them. 5 practical tips. And they are headlining for your child what comes first, using the expression first then, my favorite, catch 'em being good. The next one is to be sure that you include lots of movement activities with your child at home. And last is to teach alternate behaviors. So that's a list. Go ahead.
So tell me what headlining means.
So headlining. Headlining, you hear that oftentimes at school. Teachers will say things like, so next we're going to be going to art, or in 15 minutes we're going to be going to lunch. And so when teachers headline what's coming up for you, it helps you get ready for packing things up, and it helps get your brain ready for what you're going to be doing next. Sometimes we as parents forget to do that for our kids. So that's the first strategy I would like to offer, is remembering to headline what's going to come next. So at home, something like, all right, as soon as you're finished with your bath, it's going to be time to read a book. Or after your snack, it's going to be time to start your homework. So telling kids what's going to be coming next. Some other examples might be things like, for older students, tomorrow we have a dentist appointment, right? Giving the child a lot of time to understand that something that may not be so great is going to be coming up in the future. Or in 2 days, we're going to have a doctor's appointment. And then that's giving you 2 days to talk about what's going to happen at the doctor's appointment and what the expected behavior is for the child. So headlining is really, really important.
Can you give some examples of first then?
Yes. So first then is, we usually do it verbally. We tell our kids, your children at home, first we're going to do this and then we're going to do that. But at school, and parents can do this at home, is they can use a visual representation too. So first we're going to do something, usually it's what the parent wants the child to do, then it's something that the child prefers doing. So in this scenario, first we're going to go for a walk, or we're going to walk somewhere, then we're going to have some goldfish crackers. Another thing that we do at school, parents can do this if you find that your children are very visual and they rely on visual cues, is to offer, what would you like to do? So in other words, if there's a first that the child has to do, first we're going to do your homework, or first we're going to take a shower, and we have a visual of that, you can say to the child, then what would you like to do? And then the child gets to pick it. So then maybe it's jump on the trampoline. So if I had a picture of, first we're going to brush your teeth, then you're going to be able to jump on the trampoline, it's very concrete for kids. And it's very clear as to what we're going to be doing first and then. Right? Here's just a smaller one. Here's one that we use, first then. So here's one. First we're going to go for a walk, then we're going to go to the bus. And sometimes what we do is we'll use, this is a little token board. So sometimes we might say to the child, yes, That's how you walk with me. You're walking with me. We're going to go to your locker. Yep. And now we're going to stop and give this note to the secretary. And then we're going to put on your backpack. Oh, look, you got all your tokens. Now it's time for us to go on to the bus. Using these types of visual supports, this is a little bit more of a complex one. I happen to like just this. For our parents at home, for parents of young children, this is like all the way up to 3rd grade. You could be doing stuff like this. What we're going to do first and what we're going to do next. And it's very clear. And what I find is it doesn't leave a lot of room for negotiation, right? Oftentimes you hear kids, oh, come on, I want to da-da-da, I want to. This is very clear. First we do this, next we do this, or first then.
What does catch 'em being good mean?
Oh, catch 'em being good. That's one of my favorites. So that's a behavioral technique. Catch 'em being good means find what your child is doing appropriately. Find what your child is doing well, as opposed to, and comment on it, as opposed to what we tend to do, which is just correct. We oftentimes just correct kids, and we forget to say, thank you for putting your dish in the sink, or that's the way you clean up after dinner, right? Sometimes what we do is we just say what the child didn't do, right? Oh, you forgot to put your books away. You didn't take out your homework before you had a snack. So what we tell parents is, catch them being good. Catch them doing something that you want them to do and give them positive reinforcement for doing that. And then, behaviorally, what happens is that kids are more apt, people are more apt to do what you just asked them to do, and they want to do it because you just reinforce them for doing that. So let me think of some other examples. Child comes home from school, backpack drops on the floor, but he puts his shoes where the shoes are supposed to go. So an example of catch 'em being good is, rather than commenting on the backpack that just got dropped on the floor, you're saying to the child, oh, you put your shoes where they belong. It's important to put things where they belong. You know, hint, hint, look at the backpack, right? So then I want my mother to say nice things to me, and I want my mother to reinforce me for my positive behavior. So then the child, hopefully, because you caught him being good, he wants to be caught being good. So he'll do more positive things. Catch 'em being good is a really important strategy. Here's another example of catch 'em being good. Let's say you have a couple of kids, 2 or 3 kids, or maybe it's just friends over. When one of them is doing what they're not supposed to be doing, but you comment positively on the other one, oh, I see you're coloring, you're doing your work, you're doing your homework, or you're whatever the child happens to be doing. Oh, you're enjoying your snack, and meanwhile the other child is doing what they're not supposed to be doing. Because I'm commenting and I'm interacting with you, oftentimes that child's behavior improves because he wants my attention too. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, catch them being good. Good teachers in school use that strategy all the time. They reinforce who's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then the other kids sort of fall in line because they want that positive attention too. Yeah, that's a good one. Catch them being good. It's a change in your brain, right? Because often you see what's not being done. Yeah. And so now you want to catch them when they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and then commenting on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you include movement activities?
So movement is definitely in the top 5 considerations. Movement activities are so important for kids. So when you think about what's a non-movement activity, I'm going to give you for example, Christian, like this, right? iPad, playing on the iPad, playing on the phone, sitting on the computer. It's a non-moving type of activity. And so what happens is, after kids spend a lot of time on their iPad, then the parents want the kids to eat dinner, take a shower, and go to bed. And the problem is, he hasn't had enough release of energy. He hasn't had enough oxygen, right? So, because when you're outside and you're playing and you're walking, you're getting a lot of oxygen into your body. So, including movement activities will actually increase positive behavior, because he will have had lots of oxygen in his body. He will have had lots of movement. So now maybe a little bit of time on the iPad, putting it down. Now when the parent tells the child it's time to take a shower and go to bed, he's actually tired. So it sounds like a silly thing, don't forget to include movement, but when you think about how much time kids are spending on iPads and phones and not moving, and then you're asking them to take showers, go to bed, and calm down. They've been calm for hours. And what they really needed was lots and lots of activity before, to then be able to calm down, take a shower, go to bed, and increase cooperation.
So what does it mean to teach alternate behaviors?
All right, so that's the last one on our list, teaching alternate behaviors. This sort of goes along with catch 'em being good. But alternate behaviors is, we often tell kids what not to do, right? Don't climb. Don't put your hands on there. But instead, what we need to be doing is telling kids what they should be doing, right? So I'll give you some examples from school, and then we'll translate that into home. Alternate behaviors. How many times do you hear people, if kids are running down the hall, you hear this: no running, no running, stop running, right? And sort of what you hear in your brain is running, running, right? So instead, the alternate behavior for that is walk. Who's walking? You need to walk. In school, because we have little kids at my school, we say walking feet. Show me your walking feet, because you want kids not to hear running, and no running. You want to tell them what they should be doing. So the alternate behavior is, for example, right? He's tapping his pen. So instead of you just telling me, Sandy, don't tap your pen, you tell me, Sandy, draw a picture, right? You're telling me an alternate behavior to do rather than just tap my pen. So let's translate that into home. He's hitting his brother, right? Instead of just stop hitting your brother, it's play ball with your brother, tickle your brother, give your brother a high five, or maybe it's two sisters. Brush your sister's hair, right? Rather than just telling kids what not to do, telling them an alternate behavior is really important, because sometimes kids forget. They don't know what else to do. So when you tell them, right, don't throw your shoes on the floor, don't throw the laundry on the floor, you haven't really told them what they should be doing. So instead we say things like, put the laundry in the basket, put your shoes wherever the shoes belong. So that's alternate behavior. Remembering, and we're gonna show you this list of 5, because remembering this list of 5, and that's why we only did 5 today, because they're really important. And if you use all 5 of those strategies and remember when to use those strategies.
Would you like to recap those strategies?
Great, let's recap the strategies. Yes. So here we go. Headline, what is coming next? Headline, what is coming next means tell your child what they're going to be doing next, or what you expect them to be doing next. Second, use first then. First we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. Catch 'em being good. That was number 3. Catch 'em being good is remembering to comment on what the child is doing right, what they're doing correctly. The next one, be sure to include frequent movement activities. That's you as a parent making sure that your child has lots of time for movement so that at the end of the day, he is tired to go to sleep. It's one of our biggest feedback areas that we get from parents is kids going to sleep at night. That's why I included that one. And then lastly is teach alternate behaviors. Instead of just telling the child what she shouldn't be doing or to stop doing, we tell the child what they should be doing instead, right? So instead of stop throwing your clothes on the floor, we tell kids, put your clothes in the laundry basket, as an example.
Well, thank you, Sandy. Would you like to add anything else?
No, I think that's it for today's episode, and I thank you for having me again, Christian.
This has been another episode of the Ellenville Parent Training Series. I hope you enjoyed our show today.